So what a thrill for everyone today to see our drivers lapping COTA at full hot lap speed. It's the Circuit of the Americas and it's qualifying.
Well, here we go, starting our first lap of the proper qualifying session for the United States Grand Prix. And after the sprint race yesterday, I can only imagine what kind of epic battles up and down the field we are going to have, as those last like 5 or 4 laps of the sprint were just absolutely fantastic. It's some of the best racing I've had in this series, and hopefully more to come next season as well. As I just completely jump over the curb there, but we're not really going to talk about that. That probably lost me more time than anything, and I think I'm trying to push way too hard on my first out lap, or flying lap, excuse me. But yeah, just talking about next season, I don't know if I will stay with Ferrari. I mean, the mechanical failures have just been ridiculous, and of course we are in talks with McLaren. We turned them down, but who knows if they could take us again. Or we could pull a Carlos Sainz and maybe go to Williams or something like that. Their paces looked really encouraging this season, and we can help with development there. It'll certainly be a great challenge. However, fighting at the front is always a great feeling in Formula 1, as yeah, this is definitely going to be a ride-off lap. I'm still going to go over the line with it, but not the best lap I've ever done. A lot of mistakes. So now we go up across the line, and it is, yeah, P3. Fairly slow lap. Well, Max Verstappen, once again, is the head of the field in Q1 from Lando Norris and Sergio Perez. We are down 4/10 off of the pace in 6th position, but remember that also was quite a scruffy lap. And out in Q1, we have Kevin Magnussen, Joe Guan Yu, Esteban Ocon, Logan Sargent, and Daniel Ricciardo. Well, I wanted to get out as soon as possible because, as you can see, it is extremely overcast. Now, there is rain forecast for this qualifying session, so I just want to get out now and get this lap done before there's any rain, and I'm not sure when it's going to come. So let me just see the weather report.
Okay, rain is imminent. Rain is imminent. Be careful out there. Dries definitely seem like the fastest tyre at the moment.
Okay, so team saying the rain is imminent. Which basically means it is coming now. And hopefully we can finish our qualifying lap by the time it does start to sprinkle. Or else we will be in a whole lot of trouble, because then that will affect our time and essentially knock us out of Q2. So we did get to the very end of the lap by the time it did start to fall, and it has no effect on our lap time essentially, and that's us as P6. So yep, that'll be us safely through into Q3.
One lap of fuel left now. The tank's pretty much empty.
Because nobody else will be going out in the wet to try to improve on a dry time, because that would just be silly. Well, once again, Max Verstappen topping the timing sheets in Q2, but only by 6 milliseconds this time from Lando Norris, with their teammate not far behind. And that's allowed Pierre Gasly to get through again. So, fantastic stuff from the Alpine driver this weekend. Then Oscar Piastri, unfortunately getting knocked out in Q2. He was one of the last to head out of the garage, and that really, really cost him because he did get caught in the middle of the rain. Also out is Yuki Tsunoda, Nico Hülkenberg, Alex Albon, and Valtteri Bottas. So, yeah, moving on into Q3, we will be moving on to the intermediate tires, and that is what scares me because, as we saw in Baku, my wet pace was not really that great. And, have we had a wet qualifying session this year? We probably have, but it's just slipping my mind. But it's been a while if it has happened, so let's see what kind of pace I've got on the inters. Well, now as we do start our first qualifying lap of Q3, I was just trying to pick up a toe there from George Russell. As now there's a Red Bull trying to send it up the inside, racing with a Mercedes there, so that kind of affected me into turn 1. And I also just realized on my outlap that I am an idiot, and I forgot to change the ICE in my engine. I always forget to do that, and at this point it's going to start costing me because straight line speed is absolutely necessary at this circuit. But we are locked in Parc Ferme now, and if I make any changes to the car, I will have to start from the rear of the field, which normally it would be a pit lane start. However, those aren't in this game, although I wish they were. That'd be really cool if we had pit lane starts, but we don't. And anyway, now head down as the top speed is reached. In the wet, this track is just so intimidating. And now we gotta head through this section. Can't ever get on the throttle fully through here in the wet. And now, so we get on the power as early as we possibly can. Oh, I had to lift through there. I just got off of line. And this has been quite a scruffy lap. And now we're going to head through toward the final corner and try to get the power down as soon as possible. And the line can't come soon enough. And now that is going to be P4, so we're 5/10 off of Lando Norris. Well, the track condition is getting worse and worse, but we have now much more of a dry line, and everybody is just finishing their laps now as I am starting mine. And we currently sit P6, but lap times will be improving up and down the field. So we're going to be the last to set a lap by quite a bit. So now it's crucial we aren't held up by this McLaren car in front of us. It's what screwed us over in SQ3 with our teammate last time out. And it won't happen this time, hopefully. As now, commentary is not the best through the rain, because I just have to stay focused. But already I'm a second up on my lap. Could this be an absolute barnstormer? And do a Leclerc style qualifying lap. 6/10 in that sort of style. Spa 2019 comes to mind, where he outqualified the team by, or the grid by that margin. Next fastest car. So now we head down out of the hairpin in the back straight. Very, very slow speed in the rain here. As I said, can't get on the throttle all the way. It's just tiny little squirts of the throttle here and there up until this point, and then you can't even get full throttle through here without dropping the car. And now we are 2 seconds up. Could this be the barnstorming lap that I've been looking for? As now we head into the final corner all the way down to second gear. We get it planted out of the final turn. Oh,
Okay, good
what
job,
kind of
mate.
time will it be?
Really well
Pole
done. That was a
position.
Fantastic drive. Bring it home.
When was our last pole position? I'm not sure, but that is us on pole by a second from Charles Leclerc. Absolutely amazing. I'm not sure if that was track condition or what, but that's a second gap to our teammate in the same car. Red Bull having a horrid qualifying down in 6th and 10th. Checo is second off of George Russell ahead of him. So that obviously seems to be wet pace. I'm not sure if it's going to rain for tomorrow's Grand Prix. That will come with time. But at the moment, very, very encouraging stuff.
Here we are then in one of the fastest growing cities in the United States, the fabulous Austin in the great state of Texas. The circuit itself, 14 miles southeast of the city centre, has been home to the US Grand Prix since 2012, the latest in a long list of iconic tracks to have that honour. We're racing today then in Travis County, Texas, where 20 corners and speeds of up to 200 miles per hour await us on this magnificent racetrack. It's 60% full throttle with plenty of good opportunities to pass, especially through the 2 DRS zones into turn 1 and the long back straight into turn 12. What a race we have in store today. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Mr. Monaco lines up on pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Fernando Alonso, Gasly, Stroll, Perez, Tsunoda, Albon, Bottas, Verstappen, Joe, Ocon, Sargent, Russell, Ricciardo, Hülkenberg, Magnussen, Norris, and Oscar Piastri. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. And with me for this commentary this afternoon, former racing driver Naomi Schiff. Let's look at their season, and particularly against their teammate. Fair to say they've got the better of them more often than not.
Yes, for sure. It is never nice to be on the receiving end of that teammate battle, to be the one not winning. But for the driver who is on the upper hand, it's a real confidence boost because, as you know, the first job in Formula One is to beat your teammate. It is a team sport, but at the end of the day, that's the only driver on the grid that's got equal equipment to you. So it's the best indication of how you're doing. So for them, it's going to be a real confidence boost.
Well, shocker there. Both McLarens taking grid penalties to start from the back of the field. And not very good news for them. I'm planning to change mine in Mexico next time out. So yeah, we got 28 laps ahead of us. And yeah, no time to waste.
The formation lap gets underway and every driver will be looking to settle in for the race once the lights go out.
Well, Max Verstappen also taking a 5-place grid penalty this weekend. He's down in 11th now, which means Bottas and Joe will be starting.
Ready to start the race as the cars take their positions on the grid, with the drivers and teams making their final preparations.
In 10th and 12th, so great position for Kick Sauber. And hopefully Max won't get past Bottas off the start. That way we can keep him away from us as much as possible. I do believe we'll end up racing him. And Fernando Alonso there lining up P4. Certainly in the fight for a podium today. And now once again this amazing shot up into the uphill turn 1. And now the green flag waves. And it is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights for the United States Grand Prix. It is lights out, and away we go. We get off the line well, just about as well as our teammate. As now we are going to head into turn 1, give the space on the inside. Make sure not to get forced out wide, and we hold the lead into turn 1. So now we lead the United States Grand Prix here on lap 1. Pierre Gasly skyrockets himself, fighting with Alonso for 4th there. So great start from the Alpine man. And this really gives us the edge from our teammate because we will be giving off the dirty air through these corners. And now got a full battery to use down this back straight here. As you can just see how much the car has the stopping power and ability to turn in. So now I'm not going to use any battery just yet because I don't see any reason to. As now our teammates gaining, but it's not going to be enough. As now I go very, very deep there into that corner, but I bet just about keep it on the road. Looks like Gasly and Alonso are once again fighting for that P4 spot, but Alonso comes out on top this time around. Or no, they're still side by side. As, yeah, they're still going side by side, wheel to wheel through that section of the track, but I believe Alonso does maintain his position ahead of Pierre Gasly. Well, I'm not sure where this pace has come from because the difficulty stayed the exact same, but now we are breaking the DRS gap from our teammate behind. Pierre Gasly genuinely has the pace for a top 5 finish here as long as he doesn't get passed by Alonso. But of course, right as I say that, Alonso steams by him with that Mercedes engine. As now I just can't seem to get the car straightened out properly through there. So I crucially need to stay ahead of Hamilton. This is an opportunity to take a big chunk out of Max Verstappen and Red Bull's lead in the constructors standings, but of course Max Verstappen will be on a brilliant recovery drive as he always is. I think, speaking realistically, we are out of running for the title, but if not for the instances of Monza and Hungary, whoa, big rear lock up there, big massive lock up there. I almost dropped the car. Whoa. Oh man, I'm speechless. That fight or flight kicked in, man. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yes. So Monza, and then I believe Hungary and China as well. All instances where I have been running at the front and had engine failures, which is another reason why I'm considering the move from Ferrari, because we haven't seen as many Mercedes engines go up in smoke. Actually, we haven't seen as many engines go up in smoke as mine this year. Mine seems to be going a lot more than other drivers. I think we've had four or five mechanical retirements this year, which is just absolutely ridiculous, especially for a front-running team such as Ferrari. And now Charles Leclerc is back within the DRS range, so that big lockup into turn 1 did not help us at all.
Okay, mate, Charles is behind you now. They are faster than you. They are faster than you. Let them through, please.
Alright, this is just ridiculous at this point. Was it Hungary? Last time when they asked me for team orders, might have been Hungary, I don't really remember, but it's just ridiculous at this point. I mean, I'm not giving up a win to my teammate, you know. I'm not McLaren. As a big snap through that corner. Once again, I can just see, look at the tire wear. It's just, the graining is absolutely terrible. I have done no running on the hard this weekend at all, so I'm not sure what kind of graining will be on that tire, or what the deg will be like. But only time will tell. As I'm still not going to let Charles Leclerc through. We're fighting for the win of a Grand Prix here. And especially in my home race. Like, imagine if they asked for Charles to let me by when he gets his first chance to win the Monaco Grand Prix. Absolutely not going to happen from his end, I can guarantee that, as now Charles tries to get up the inside. That's not going to happen as we swoop by Big Red on the left there. Now down through the first sector, completely flat. Once again, I found my mojo with this car setup. Although I think part of the problem is I am pushing just a bit too hard, as you could just see the understeer through that corner there. As now Charles is certainly going to have a run on us going down the back straight. Now, we go a little bit deep, and we're just going to take the IndyCar line through there.
Sorry about that,
Isn't that we rejoin?
Thanks for doing that. Let's now get your head down and get to the end of this race in the best way we can.
As I'm not sure what Mark's talking about there. Now here goes Lewis Hamilton on us, and we're just going to lose 2 positions, it looks like, unless we can get back around the outside of the Mercedes driver. Get a little snap of oversteer heading through there, and now the same place where we overtook our teammate during the sprint race on the final lap. We overtake Lewis Hamilton on the 6th lap. Well, now we are quite close to Charles Leclerc, but not as close as he was to us when he made that pass on us as well. Now certainly Lewis Hamilton will be wanting to have a look on him as well. I don't really have enough battery to go for an all-out attack here, so I am just going to hang back. I'm sure I can wait until the first turn for a move, as long as I can stay with him in the wake of his car, as Gasly sticking with Alonso very well up in P5. That'll be a great points haul for Alpine if he can make that result stick. There's Big Red on the right once again, icon of this track. Beautiful Kota. As now we head through the penultimate and final corners. Now, I'm going to try to get on the throttle as soon as possible. And I'll go for an all-out attack on my battery. Here goes us on Charles Leclerc. We're going to try to get up the inside as I really outbraked myself there. I just had to turn the wheel to try to stop myself. And now we get going again. We've lost position to Lewis Hamilton. That wasn't the plan. Well, now we're going to see what kind of commitment and pace Lewis Hamilton has. He fought for the win here in 2021 and 2022. And he did win the first ever Grand Prix here, so he's no stranger to running up front at the Circuit of the Americas. And that's Charles Leclerc! Charles Leclerc out of the Grand Prix with an engine failure. He's just going to let us by now. His engine goes up in absolute smoke, and that is heartbreak for Leclerc. So now Sergio Perez is recovered to 5th. I can't even believe that. More drama in this 2024 Formula 1 season, as the plan was for us to get a big points haul with a 1-2 and take a big chunk out of Red Bull and further solidify our lead in the constructors. But now
Charles has dropped out of the race.
the maximum amount we can get is 26 just with me, 25 for a win and 1 for the fastest lap, as I'm sure Lewis Hamilton will be delighted about that. As the 2 Ferraris now, we can't use teamwork, it's just me versus him. Well, we are all over the back of Lewis Hamilton coming out of the final corner.
We're approaching
And now
the pit window now, and you're going to be on hards next time.
we're going to go up the inside. He gets a little jink to the left there as we slide the rear end through this turn 1. And now we get on the power and deploy everything we've got now, heading up into the first sector, but we just got to lift off there because we can't find a way through on Lewis Hamilton as I just once again go off the track there. So Perez is now cleared Gasly, but up the road is Fernando Alonso, who will be battling away with Sergio Perez. So maybe Perez will be in contention for the win here more than Max Verstappen. So now I can just see every little detail on the diffuser of that Mercedes for how close we got into that corner, and now we are gaining and gaining and gaining, and he's going to open up the outside line. But now we're going to go for the switchback on him, but we just don't have the grip for it. But can we send it up the inside? No, we know better. He just has a look in his right mirror there and sees he can shut the door on us. As now I am thinking about boxing a lap early. Team want us in around lap 13, but these tires are absolutely done now. Degradation is so high. So if I come in at the end of this next lap that we're starting, surely I can get an undercut on Lewis. He's now out of the final corner once again. I go wide, and I'm not able to get the run I need. Well, now I have made the decision with the team to box now. So try to get the undercut on Lewis Hamilton.
Really good job.
So now we are in the pit lane. And now we're going to turn into our pit box. Hopefully we get a nice, clean, tidy stop. As Nep 2.5 in and out of the pit box. Beautiful stop there from our Ferrari pit crew. Seems nobody else is in the pit lane except for a Sauber car.
And the crew there, mate. We're delighted with that. Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound.
And it is crucial we don't come out in traffic, and it is absolutely crucial that we didn't get out behind Lando Norris, because that car is the fastest in the field at the moment. And so that would be our undercut hopes done. Is look how much more speed I have through these corners. Best feeling when you get onto a fresh set of tires. Straight out of the pit lane as I hop over the curbs there. But yeah, if I would have come out behind Lando, then I would have had a tough time passing him down the straights, and then I wouldn't have been able to get this undercut done. We are coming up on the back of a whole gaggle of cars that are led by a Sauber battling away And then at the rear is Oscar Piastri. So now I can just feel where the grip is on the circuit now. It's such a fantastic feeling. So now we head up here, and I don't know if Lewis will be into the pits. No, he is. Yes, he is. Lewis is in the pits. So Mercedes clearly thinking they can cover off our undercut, but I think we've done just good enough of a lap here, as now almost all the cars in that gaggle ahead come through. And we're gonna have a slipstream as well, as I can see the clouds just gathering. This is gonna be extremely tight between myself and Lewis Hamilton, but we are ahead of Lewis, so we take the net race lead now as Russell is fighting with Piastri. And now Hamilton.
Car behind you's just come in for the hard tyres. Car behind running hard tyres.
Hamilton will be slower than myself as I get offline through there. That'll cost us a few tenths. But my tires are nice and warm, and his are real cold. So I will have a slight pace advantage, as well as DRS off of Piastri and Russell ahead. So that was absolutely crucial for this Grand Prix. Reminiscent of how Max Verstappen undercut Lewis back in 2021. As now I've got to help in the DRS, and there goes Piastri deploying some battery, and now he's going to try to go around the outside of George Russell, half of his car off the circuit there. So beautiful move for the young Australian. Is what the heck was that, George? Absolutely just parked it on the apex. I forget how much more grip I have compared to these guys, and that Mercedes is terrible on old tires. As now
Nice move. Keep going.
Oscar Piastri will surely be into the pit lane at the end of this lap, as will all the other cars. So yes, Lance Stroll is in, and yep, there we go. And I get an extra helping of DRS down the straight, just for good measure. But I believe Hamilton will have it on his teammate George Russell as well, who are running at opposite ends of the field as Russell comes into pit. So now the showdown is on, as now we head out of the final corner once again for lap 21. Lewis Hamilton slipstream gaining with DRS, but he's not going to be close enough once again to make a move. So we're just doing everything we can. This is sort of a Leclerc-Piastri Baku situation here, where we are just pulling out the gap enough so that he can't really pass us heading into the braking zone or the DRS zones, but then pulling that gap back out through the corners, although we did go very wide through there, which made us lose touch with the racing line. And now this certainly could be a chance for Lewis Hamilton, as now we're going to get a very understeery entry.
So try to keep the number of shifts to a minimum, please.
The last thing we need right now is more issues with the car. So in order to prevent losing a gear or being stuck in gear or something like that, we need to use as many, or as little, excuse me, gear shifts as possible. Well, Lewis Hamilton has been threatening to do this for several laps now, and he's gaining. We're going to force him all the way to the inside.
He might make a mistake.
And now Lewis Hamilton in his Mercedes takes the lead of the United States Grand Prix here with 7 laps to go, including this one. As now we're going to head through this section. Certainly we can have a run on him into turn 1 as now the clouds are starting to fall away, and it is no longer overcast. It's now sunny, which means the track temperature will go up with just the little amount of laps we have left. So I was right on the limit through that corner there, and I am right on the limit for this entire final few lap sequence, as now I'm going to gain on Lewis and
Please
and
repeat, you're breaking up.
bump the radio button again, excuse me, as now I get a bunch of wheel spin as the revs max out. And now we're going to head up into the first sector and retake the lead of the US Grand Prix. Well, I can just see Lewis gaining on us now. He's got DRS, and now which way is he going to go? I'm going to put my car in the middle. He's going to go to the outside line, and by the time he gets to the braking zone, he is well ahead of us. So I can see Max Verstappen has just recovered to 5th place, so great effort from the Dutchman from 11th on the grid, although in that Red Bull anything is possible, but he is still 11 seconds off the lead and 2 seconds, or 1.5, or 2, yeah, 2 seconds behind his teammate, and he will certainly be able to pass him if he can catch him. It'd have to be nearly a second a lap if he was to do that, but hopefully he will stay in 5th. That way we can take a big chunk of points, well, not so big, but a chunk of points out of him, and Red Bull might just be able to minimize the amount of damage they've taken from their qualifying positions, and Verstappen taking that grid penalty due to my teammate retiring. So now instead of an easy 33 points, we will now have to settle with 26 at best, as I said. Speaking of 26, that's now the lap we're on.
Get past here, use overtake, use overtake.
Well, Mark telling me there we need to get past and to use overtake, so use overtake I will. And now, as we head down this back straight, I am just going to breeze right by Lewis. By the time we get to the braking zone, I am nearly a full car length ahead. He keeps the nose there, though, but in the end, he does have to back out.
Nice work, mate. That brings you up a place.
And now I can't seem to get the throttle planted as much as I like on corner exit. These tires, the life is just completely gone from them. As now Verstappen is 1.7 seconds behind his Mexican teammate there. And Fernando Alonso looks poised to take a much needed podium for Aston Martin. As we can see, the two Haas cars are at the very rear of the field, so they both took penalties this weekend as well, although they don't seem to be making as much of a recovery as the Red Bulls are, or the McLarens. Not sure where they are in terms of points, though, the McLarens, because they seem to be stuck in that whole gaggle behind the Saubers. I knew that would happen, that there would be a train stuck behind the Saubers, because they are good in a straight line. So, that seems to be really costing McLaren, although they don't really have anywhere to go in either of the standings, as now I almost drop it on corner exit there, and now Lewis Hamilton looks like he is just gonna swipe this lead back from me once again. But now I'm just gonna deploy all the battery I have. I'm not sure if it'll be enough, as it is gonna be extremely close, but he is gonna go to the outside line. I wasn't expecting that, Lewis. I think that was the point of the move, is now I'm gonna switch my ERS to harvest mode, and the red light will be blinking on the back of my car telling Lewis that I will be slower in a straight line, and I'm harvesting energy, and he knows that I'll be harvesting energy to go for a defensive strategy down the straights, as now we round the final corner for the penultimate time of this Grand Prix. And this is it, the showdown between myself and 7-time champion Lewis Hamilton. As now he's got DRS and he's gaining, but he isn't close enough. Now, there's really one more genuine overtaking zone, which is down at the end of the back straight. And as long as we can stay in front and maybe pull away even a little bit, but he's been caring for his tires a lot more than I have for mine. But all I need to do now is get a good exit, and I can drain all my battery down the back straight, and we do get a good exit. Now, as it doesn't look like Max Verstappen will be catching Sergio Perez. But still, that is 22 points, so we'll only be taking 4 points out of them in the standings and pulling away by that much. But hey, 4 is better than nothing. As now Lewis is getting closer and closer and closer, but we are going to maintain the position. And now, this is probably when I should start my last lap speech. Well, we haven't had a Grand Prix victory since Austria in the Styrian Mountains. That feels like a lifetime ago now. We've had so much bad luck. We had engine failures in Hungary and Italy and Baku. But now for our home Grand Prix, we are going to round the final corner and win the United States Grand Prix. Get in there!
Ah, fantastic drive. That's just fantastic. Amazing. You deserved that race win. Well done, mate.
Oh, man. And we get driver of the day on top of that. Pole by a second and the win. Nothing could have gone better.
For another magnificent United States Grand Prix, and they've hung on to take a sublime victory here today.
Yes, it absolutely was, and what an incredible victory and an important milestone for them as we head into the business end of the season. You know that that's really going to matter from a confidence perspective to get them to the end of the season with potentially even more of these victories.
Well, Naomi Schiff is so very right there.
And here we are, a team that is no stranger to the podium, taking their place on top once again. A sublime race today, and a stunning win for Ferrari.
Well, look at that. We have won the United States Grand Prix. I am so happy. We have really been needing this confidence boost. And now, as we shake the official's hand, we pump the trophy in the air for the team. And now Lewis Hamilton and Fernando Alonso, two of the greatest drivers in the sport. It is an honor to share the podium with them. And now it will be celebrations for Ferrari, Mercedes, and Aston Martin, who very much needed this podium. And now that is a brilliant, brilliant podium to look at, isn't it?
It's been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action, and I can't wait to see what's next.
All right, well, I keep saying it, but we have won the United States Grand Prix from Lewis Hamilton to Fernando Alonso. Then comes Sergio Perez, Max Verstappen, making a recovery up to P5. Then Lance Stroll. Pierre Gasly ended up finishing in P7 with 6 points to his name. And then Valtteri Bottas and Zhou Guanyu, both Sauber, scoring points, so 6 in total for them two. And then comes Yuki Tsunoda, Oscar Piastri, and Lando Norris going 11th and 13th, with Alex Albon splitting them in the middle. So they were 30 seconds off the lead, caught in that Sauber train. So no points for McLaren this weekend. Then comes George Russell, whose teammate finished second to myself. Not having the best weekend, only able to recover one position, and I think that was just because our teammate DNF'd. Esteban Ocon, Daniel Ricciardo, Nico Hulkenberg, Logan Sargent, the other American driver on the grid, finishing second to last, then Kevin Magnussen behind him. And then Charles Leclerc having that mechanical DNF, so unfortunate there. But in the Lone Star state of Texas, we have won the United States Grand Prix, and that is a huge confidence boost going into Mexico next round, and I'll see you guys then. I'm going to go celebrate.